Hello and welcome to another episode of Becoming a Jolly Soul. So I'm Katie.
And I'm producer Stu.
And sometimes we don't even say that, I've realised. But anyway, so I'm Katie and I generally write a lot or all of the quotes on our Instagram. So if you're not following us already, please make sure you check us out. Today we're going to be talking about a quote that I wrote, which is, "We are capable of great things. Always keep that in mind." Which is so true, isn't it?
It is.
Why do you do a little bell then for that one?
To ring the attention.
Ting, ting. Yes, we are all capable. Ting.
Great things.
Which we are, though. That's the thing. And I think, a lot of the time people don't always realise that about themselves. And that they always think that, people who do achieve great things tend to be almost superhuman or something like that. And to be fair, obviously, depending upon what the thing is, often you do have to put a great amount of time and energy into achievements. I think with anything you have to. But what I really wanted to sort of get across with this particular quote was that, often people think so negatively about themselves, and that, even my own self, no matter how much I've achieved, which I've done a lot of stuff, I think, I'd always be so difficult and just damaging to my own sense of self, I'd think so negatively about myself. And I just hope that, by talking about it in this way, it makes other people realise that maybe they do the same, and that, they shouldn't do that for about themselves. They should really, recognise how wonderful they are, because being themselves is a wonderful thing.
It's hard to do though, isn't it? It must be for yourself. You're saying there, you've been in that state yourself, to kind of be hard on your own, sort of your own worst critic, if you like.
Oh yeah. Not everyone is though. There is a lot of people who have those kind of egos that are full of self-love and self-worth. I think sometimes when you get to a point where you're kind of a bit more almost egotistical, and it's kind of loving yourself to an extreme, I don't know whether it's we as a society, we tend to sort of look down upon that kind of behavior. But I think there's at what level are you allowed to love yourself? Because do you know what I mean? You get those people who, they're really egotistical, and it's we've always been kind of made to think that was kind of wrong, and I get it, but I also think at what point is it okay to be actually, I've done well there. I give myself a bit of a pat on the back, because I've never been that person, and how wonderful it must be to sort of feel like that about yourself.
Well, there's confidence. And there's egotistical, and there's cocky, but there's arrogance as well. You can throw all of those things into the mix, can't you? But
yeah, but I feel I've had to really work on that for myself, to be actually, you've done all right there, and not be too critical. I think critique is really good. I think especially when it comes to someone teaching you how to do something, critique helps you improve. But it's I just hope that this message today for the person listening makes them realise that, they can achieve anything they want, and that you really just have to set your mind to something, make a decision about the outcome, and then move towards it as much as possible. And that's maybe every day do something. And I've said this before, if you can just give yourself a few minutes a day, it can really make a massive difference, in your life, and how much you can move forward. Ideally 10 minutes to do something each day, would add up to quite a lot over the year. And I think people don't always realize it can be just something as small as 10 minutes giving yourself to move towards something that you want your life to look like, or you want a certain achievement, that you can do that in just 10 minutes.
And that's the thing, that I think a lot of people feel like they have to go further than that, to get that result. But I think smaller steps and small movements
Yeah.
make great movements in the end, don't they, I think.
I think I've done it before though myself, where I used to think, oh well, I need to set aside like an hour to actually do it, like whatever it was in particular, you know, some sort of goal or achievement I was looking at, and I'd never maybe have that time to get an hour in, you know. But like, if you just split that down into the week, you know, those 10 minutes a day, it adds up to just over an hour. And
who has an
surprising.
hour
Yeah.
to start with, to go, that's, you know, in the day, I don't know, not many people do have an hour. So.
But just by breaking it down and micromanaging a situation of whatever it is that you're wanting to do, then, you know, I mean, obviously some things don't work like that. It could be that you want to bring, like, because this can be about hobbies as well. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I want to achieve the greatest thing. It can be just like, how can I put into my life something that I really enjoy doing? Because ultimately, you know, for us, I think I've recognized that you have to do something that you enjoy each day, and it's so beneficial for your soul. Like, it really nourishes the soul when you can, you know, like belly laugh about something, or just find that sort of peace and tranquility in doing something that makes you feel good. And I don't mean just like kind of like sitting and watching TV, or you know, like people emotionally don't they to make themselves feel good. I'm talking about, you know, finding something that you enjoy. And I think a lot of the time, you know, as you grow up, you tend to not do all the things that are quite wonderful. You know, like as a kid, I mean, I don't know about you, but I did all sorts as a kid. And I see like my own children now, you know, our kids are doing everything and anything, you know, each day, even just like when they do a bit of make-believe, it's just 10 minutes of make-believe, but it's beautiful, you know, it's the most beautiful thing. And I think, you know, as adults, we lose play so much, and it's so important, you know. And like sports, physical activities, things like that, how many sports as a kid most people did, and how many they do now is almost zero. And it's like, oh well, my body's this, my body's that, but there's different ways in which you can do things. I mean, I'll never forget when you told me about you know, someone's parent who was like 70 and plays like walking football.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, fair enough, it's not like the game that you might have played like years ago, but there's something in it that's fun, and you know, it's still part of the game, and it's just walking. But it's like, how cool is that? That's awesome.
I did thought it was awesome. I was walking back from school and they were talking about it, and it's not even far from where we are.
No.
And it's in an afternoon, 2 o'clock, they go down, I think they have an hour.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are retired, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 70. The youngest player, I think, is like 55. And they're walking football, as it says, but some of them are still actively fit, as in running, you know, like, and it's just fun. They all have a good time, and then afterwards they sit and chat, and you know, and that's their afternoon.
I hope that message today wakes you up to thinking that actually you deserve to do the things that make you happy, and actually, you know, that no matter what age you are, you can always start something new, or go back to something that you've put like a pin in, you know, like years ago, you know, and left somewhere, you know, and why not? Because, you know, ultimately this is your life and this is your time, and you should do with it what you want to do with it, you know, value the time that you've got, no matter how much time you've got. Just try to do something that brings joy to you each day.
Yeah.
And that, you know, like I said, if you want it to go somewhere and achieve like a greater thing, that you can do it just as much as anyone. You know, I've seen so many sort of success stories, and, you know, observed them and studied them, and it's really interesting that, you know, they're all different. Nobody's story is the same. So just because someone's, you know, made a certain achievement at a certain age, at a certain period, don't look at that and think, oh, well, you know, they were 20, I'm 40, or they were 15 and I'm now this age. You know, don't use any factors against you. Yeah, it's obviously, like we said, you know, certain physicalities and able-bodied, you know, things come into it. But make sure you make time for your own joy, and you can do anything you want with it. absolutely anything. Okay, so I hope this message has helped you in some way, and you check out our next episode.